Okay, we're going to work on problem number 3 on page 109. Problem number 3 asks, which number is closest to 0 on a number line? And before I begin solving these, comparing these, I like to turn them into decimals. And if you don't have an advanced calculator, you can do it with any calculator that you may have at home or you may have on your cell phone. So we're going to look at these individually, and I'm going to show you how to use a regular calculator and convert them to decimals. So we start off with A, and it's negative 11 tenths, and that's an improper fraction. So before we can begin to solve that, we have to turn it into a mixed number. So I'm going to do that now. 10 goes into 11 one time, and we have 1 left over. And just bring my denominator back over. So negative 11 tenths is equal to negative 1 1/10. So in order to turn that into a decimal, you take your whole portion, bring your negative sign over, take your whole portion, that becomes your whole number, put your decimal in. Now you have to turn this into a decimal. Now you know 1/10. The way you say that is your decimal. So you could, just by saying 1/10, you know how to write 1/10 as a decimal. You just put it in there, and it's 1/10. But if you wanted to solve it using a calculator, I'll prove it to you that it works. You take 1, because 1 is your dividend. You divide it by your divisor, which is 10. And you should get 1/10. So I just proved it by using a calculator. So that's negative 1 1/10. Let's look at B. B is negative 5/8. So to turn that, we're going to take the 5, divide it by 8, and we get negative 0.625. And we're going to do the same for 4/5. 4 is my dividend, divided by my divisor, 5, and I get 0.8. Okay, we're going to look at D now, 1 3/4. And I moved over my whole number, and 3/4 is equal to 0.75, which is one of those common fractions that you should know. So I'm going to write that down. I'm having trouble with my pen right now, but I'm also going to prove it to you with the calculator. So I'm going to take 3 divided by 4, and I get 0.75. So I'm ready to start to compare these. It's much easier. So let's look at, I'm going to change my color of my pen. So let's look at the whole numbers first. So if we look at D, 1.75, it would fall right about here on the number line. And we could look at negative 1.1, which would fall right about here. So right away, we can tell that negative 1.1 and negative 1.75 are going to be the furthest away from 0 on the number line. So we can eliminate them right away. So the next thing we need to do is look at B and C. And if you look at the tenths position, you want to compare and see which of these two numbers is smaller, because the smaller number will be closer to 0. So 8 is bigger than 6, so we could determine that B is the correct answer for number 3 on page 109. I hope this helps a little bit.